How's my hair looking? All right, we're good to go. Hey everyone, it is Ben Angel here. I'm super excited to have you register for this free 3-part Facebook advert mastermind series. Now, in this particular series, I've taken in all of your questions and I've actually picked out the top 30 questions in which I feel I can give you the most value and the best answers to get your Facebook advertising working really well and really quickly. Now, this video series has been filmed totally for free to help celebrate my upcoming one-day Facebook ads intensive called the New Social Media Economy, coming to Brisbane, Sydney, that's right, and Melbourne. If you can't make the event, we do have a 4-week online program to support you as well, because I know we've got a lot of international people watching this video right now too, but the details are at the very bottom of this page. So throughout this series, I'm going to be answering your top 30 questions. For those of you that don't know who I am, how don't you know who I am? I'm kidding, I'm not Lindsay Lohan, it's fine. So my name is Ben Angel. I'm a 2 times best-selling marketing and business author. Our team alone invests over $100,000 per year on Facebook ads, which is a significant investment for any business. We do a lot of testing and we've trained thousands of business owners in helping them to increase their success on this insanely targeted platform. Before we get into the questions, first of all, we have to understand that social media has significantly changed within the last 12 months. The strategy that you're employing literally at the start of this year, I guarantee you, is most likely obsolete right now unless you've been marketing in the most up-to-date way as possible. And I'm going to share that with you as we travel together through this 3-part video series. So without further ado, let's kick off right now with question number 1, which is from Danny. Danny asked the question, "Hey Ben, why do my ads keep on getting blocked? I need help unblocking them." There's a number of reasons why Facebook ads decides to actually block your adverts. One of the top reasons is that there is generally more than 20% text in that advert itself in the particular image. Facebook are really quite strict of not having more than 20% text in their advert images because they obviously don't want the site to come across as spammy. Facebook understand that for them to keep their multi-million following and their billion-dollar evaluation, that they must primarily look after the users on their site, which means us as advertisers have to ensure that we're targeting our ads, but we're also making sure that we're providing value and we're not coming across as too spammy. If your adverts are getting blocked, be sure to check the inbox of the email that you use to set up your Facebook ads account. When your ads do get blocked, Facebook generally sends out an email giving you the details of why that actually occurred. And in the new Facebook Ads Campaign Manager, sometimes it will actually give you a warning within there on that particular advert saying what actually occurred and what you need to do to fix it. If you have other questions about why your ads are getting blocked, it could actually have something to do with the industry that you're in. Facebook doesn't allow every single industry out there in the world to advertise on their platform. Head to the Facebook help desk area to find out more information on that, because that's a long conversation, but I'll put the link to that area under this video. So that's the answer to the question. Check your emails so you can actually get the answer and then try again. Question 2, this comes from Maddie. How do I streamline scheduled posts that tie in with each other for the best audience reach and engagement? Should they be daily, every few days, or should they be weekly? This is an awesome question, Maddie. Thanks so much for asking it. First of all, you ask around engagement. When it comes to engagement, particularly, I'm taking the context of this question in terms of how frequently you're posting to your Facebook business page to get the engagement up. The reality is, and a lot of you will know it, post your comments of experience of this below this video right now. A lot of you know that the engagement on a Facebook page has dropped significantly. Mark Zuckerberg has come out and has actually talked about this as well. This was always going to happen. It was never not going to happen. A lot of people go into social media marketing thinking it's free. You know what? Even if it's free, you're still making an investment of time and money. You also have to understand that whenever a new social media platform comes out, their core objective is to get millions of people and users onto that platform before they take their second step, which is to monetize that platform. Facebook's case, it obviously it got listed. As soon as it gets listed, the shit gets real. They have to make revenue, and that comes from their Facebook advertising. So in terms of posting and the frequency to your business page, look, to be honest, right now, once or twice a day is more than enough. If you have less than 100,000 fans, you're lucky to get about 6% of those fans engaging on your page or actually seeing your posts. 6%. It's pretty much nothing. You could actually pick up the phone and ring more people in a day, depending on how many fans that you've got. When you hit over 100,000 Facebook fans, that engagement actually drops down to 2%, which is nothing, right? And a lot of companies have invested tens of thousands of dollars promoting that Facebook page. Now, when you think about it, that was a pretty dumb move to begin with. You're promoting someone else's platform. My rule of thumb when it comes to Facebook advertising and social media, yes, you want to engage people, you want to give, valuable content and education that establishes you and your business as an expert and credible authority within your field, but you must get those people off of those platforms and into your email list, because email has a return on investment of $43 for every dollar spent on it. $43. Crazy. So if you've been promoting to get more likes on your Facebook page, 10,000, 20,000 likes is awesome credibility. But if you're not getting them across to your email list, which is what I call the hub, across to your website, that's the hub, because ultimately that's where the sales actually start to come from. That's where they make a purchase or they make some kind of inquiry. If you're not getting people over to your website platform, totally playing the wrong game, and you're going to be spending thousands of dollars on something that's never going to give you a serious return on investment. So when it comes to scheduling your posts out, you can jump online because it always changes, but there are certain days and certain times that you will get greater engagement. To find out what that is, simply just Google it, because what tends to happen is that the latest article that goes out that tells everyone that Sunday afternoon is the perfect time to put up a post, all of the marketers go and ruin it for us and start up putting all of their posts on the Sunday, which clutters the news feed, and Facebook, their algorithms, is going to put those posts up to those that are relevant, but they also feature the posts of those pages that you've engaged with recently. So if you liked Coca-Cola post that came out, it's highly likely that you're going to see another Coca-Cola post in your newsfeed in the coming days or even in the coming hours. To get around this, you're going to have to pay to play. That's the reality of it. And like any advertising platform, when you're serious about it and you employ a serious strategy, you will get a return on investment. But remember, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Because if you're after a quick fix, this video series ain't for you. This video series is for those of you that are serious about making your Facebook ads work. So the answer to that question, and it was a very long answer in terms of tying them in with each other. So how do I streamline scheduled posts that tie in with each other for the best audience reach and engagement? I'd actually look at this as a paid advertising strategy. What you do is you create an audience within Facebook Audience Insights, as you roll out free content, promote it to that same audience. The reality of this day and age is that it used to be at least 6 points of contact before a cold prospect warmed up and made a purchase. In the new social media age, it is now around 16 points of contact that they've estimated, which means that you have to make sure that your content is going out in front of the same people, not different people every single week, because that's not going to get you conversions. It has to be the same people every single week. So set up your Facebook audience group and target those people every single week. I hope that's answered that question. So Facebook advertising question number 3 is from Margaret, which pretty much ties in with the answer that I just gave. Unless we pay a fair amount for boosting, then very few of our contacts receive our messages. That's my main grudge with Facebook advertising. Like I gave in my last answer, your website's the hub. Do whatever it takes to get people to go to your website and opt in. Free ebook, free audio program, a voucher. You know, if you're a retail business, you might offer $10 off their first purchase just to get them over the line. When it comes to Facebook advertising in general, usually with a lot of businesses, if you've got an awesome strategy, it won't be your case. But for a lot of businesses, the first purchase someone makes through their Facebook advertising campaign will usually mean that they break even on that Facebook ads cost. It's the second, third, fourth, and fifth purchase in which they actually start to generate profit. So when you're looking at your Facebook advertising in general, you must understand that the number one objective is to get that initial transaction, which is an immediate switch in mindset for the prospect to customer. So when you introduce something else, in their mind, they're already a customer of yours. So as long as you offer something of relevance in the next step, then it's so much easier to get that conversion rate, but that's where your profit is. Totally understand that. Question number 4. This is from Paul. Paul asks, or says, getting people to click is not a huge problem. Getting them to follow through with their details is a massive problem for us. Well, Paul, it's not just a massive problem for you. A lot of companies and businesses are really struggling with this. What I found recently is that you can get loads of clicks through to your pages relatively easy and at low cost on Facebook since they actually changed a few algorithms the last few weeks. If people aren't actually following through and leaving their details, there's a few reasons as to why that could be. The first reason could be the landing page that you're sending them to. If you're sending them to a general website page with no serious opt-in and there's like 7 other places that they can click on, like the About Us, Contact Us, Product, Service, whatever it might be, if you're sending them to your general website, people ain't going to opt in. To me, that's wasting money. That's seriously wasting money driving them to your general website. You need to drive people to a specific landing page for a specific outcome and sell them on that outcome in the actual advert itself. It's like, okay, what are you going to get when you click on my ad? What's the context here? And does the context of the advert meet up with the landing page? Say, for example, that you're giving away a free book. In your advert, does it say free book? And does it then say free book on the landing page too? Does it actually match up, imagery as well? Does it look like I'm landing on the same page? The other really, really important thing here is your headlines. If your headline on your landing page isn't right, it can wipe out your opt-ins altogether. That's something that you need to test, and that's a question coming up throughout this video series too. So if they're not following through with their details, it could be the landing page, the headline, what you're actually offering, the context of the ad to the landing page doesn't meet up. But the fifth, and most likely the most important one that you might be stuck on, you're not targeting the right people. When it comes to targeting your adverts, you need to be testing gender, so testing male, female, age groups within at least a 5-year age bracket, and testing all of those different segments and interests and breakdowns to get your outcome. All you have to do is test and measure. It's a long game. This isn't a quick fix. Remember that, because once you strike the vein of gold, it is absolutely amazing. This is question 5. So this question comes from Mark. There's actually quite a few layers to this question as well, so I'll do my best. Mark says, I need to know more information on the money side in terms how much will it cost, how do I get costs down and returns up, and how to put messages in front of my competitors, followers, or fans. This is obviously quite a big one, so I'm going to divide this up into a few different little parts here. So first of all, let's tackle the biggest question here, which is how much will it cost when it comes to Facebook advertising? I've actually got a question directly back to you, Mark. How much are you willing to invest? When you're trying to work out how much you should be actually spending on this platform, you need to do maths in your own business to work out how much can you afford to pay to acquire a new customer. Say, for example, you have a product or service that's at the $100 mark. Now, thinking back to the question or to the statement that I made earlier that the initial transaction is usually a break-even transaction, then in that case, you should be willing to spend up to $100 to acquire a new customer, because they're the ones that are likely to buy your second, third, fourth, fifth product or service, and that's where the serious profits come from. So to answer your question is, first of all, you've got to sit down and look at how much is that initial offering. Okay, that should be at least what I'm willing to actually pay to acquire that individual. This is a hot prospect, a hot customer, break even. You're actually doing really, really well. You can, if you do Facebook advertising very strategically, you should be able to make money off your first ads. The reality is that most people aren't playing that game. They're kind of going, I'm going to test this new thing, but then they don't invest the time in it to actually tweak it. If you're willing to tweak it, you should be making money off of that initial transaction. Reality is most don't, because they're not testing their landing page, the audience type, the gender, the interests. They're kind of being very, very basic about it. But if you're willing to step up your game, keep watching, because I have so many answers here. So in terms of how much it should cost, like I said, the question is, how much are you willing to pay to acquire that initial customer? And that could be $100 if the initial transaction is $100, as long as they're highly targeted. The next part of that is, how do I get costs down? This is really easy. Test and measure everything. Test and measure everything. Test your Facebook images, test the ad copy, test your headlines, test the landing page. If people are opting in for something for free and they're not converting, it could be a follow-up email series that maybe that's what's not converting. Maybe you actually need to look at that. But when it comes to testing this stuff, if you're going to do it like a pro, you test one thing at a time and one thing only. So say, for example, one day you test a particular headline. Is that helping you secure sales or secure opt-ins? If not, you've sent a fair bit of traffic to it, then you need to test something else. Or maybe people are clicking through to it, but maybe they're not converting, which means it's a landing page problem. So test and measure absolutely everything. And the third part of this question is, how do I put my message in front of my competitors' fans? Well, to do this, you actually need to go into Audience Insights, and on the left-hand side of that dashboard area, or even you can do this when you're actually creating your adverts in Power Editor, is you actually enter your competitors' names or their business names, and they should actually come up. Just a little word of warning here too, by the way. Well, first of all, they don't always come up, and I have a theory on this because when people kind of started throwing money at Facebook ads, a lot of people bought fans which to me, first of all, I think it's unethical. Second of all, they're not targeted people, nor are they actually interested people. It's like a like farm or a fan base farm, as you would call it. So if you start advertising to your competitors' fans, no one's buying, no one's converting, it's because their fans aren't actually targeted. This is like a really ultra big trap for a lot of businesses. They go, Facebook's fucked. Facebook isn't fucked. It's that we haven't looked at the data behind this and the other reasons of maybe why they're not converting. So it could simply be the case that your competitor doesn't have the key demographic that you're after, or they may have bought some. Who knows? That's my theory on it anyway. So back to targeting these individuals, I would be doing that through Facebook Audience Insights. I would also target 10, 20, 30 of your competitors, but set up different adverts for each of those. Don't put them all in the same bunch, because some will actually convert and others won't. You just have to test and measure that. If you set up adverts for 30 of your competitors, go through, see who's not converting. Then after a little while, you're going to start to cull those adverts back until you get the winning ones. This next question, I believe we're up to number 6. I actually have no idea because, like I said, this is totally unscripted. This one's from Kaylee. So my top question is paying for Facebook ads worth it? I seem to get a lot of exposure from my paid ads, but they don't convert into followers or customers. To answer the first part of that question is absolutely yes, 100%. If you're not generating money from it, it's not because of Facebook, it's because of how you're actually using Facebook itself to attempt to get those conversions. This literally comes back to something that we were speaking about earlier in terms of maybe your targeting is completely off track. Maybe your targeting is way too broad, or maybe it's too small. So when we're talking about being too broad, maybe you're trying to advertise to 1 million, 2 million plus people on Facebook. Far too broad, guys. Way too freaking broad. Now, if you're trying to target to less than 50,000 people, it's too small. What will happen is those individuals will actually get banner blindness. Now, what that means is they've seen your Facebook ad like 30 different times and they just simply tune it out because it keeps coming up in the newsfeed over and over again. If they weren't interested in the first 100 times, they're not going to be interested in 101 times. So that is A, you're showing an advert too often. B, totally incorrect targeting. Trying for an audience that is way too large or either way too small. You haven't quite got the sweet spot there as of yet. Like I said, if they're not converting but they're clicking through to your landing page, you need to learn how to design that landing page so it does actually get those conversions. That's the core problem with that specific question, Kaylee. Now, the other thing here as well, if it's not the landing page, it could actually be a product market fit. So what do I mean by product market fit? Well, that's where you're trying to pitch a product or pitch a free opt-in of some kind, but it just doesn't have the right angle on it to actually draw those people in. So you have to ask yourself, is the name of my product relevant to these individuals? Now, when you're thinking about this, I always advertise on outcomes. So what is the outcome that this individual is going to get from the engagement with me? And you would have seen it in this video series as well, in the promotion of this series, is that I'm going to help those of you that are struggling with your Facebook ads by answering your questions. That's the outcome, to help you get a return on investment from your Facebook ads. That's a specific outcome. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at your own Facebook ads and ask yourself, what is the outcome for the individual that's actually going here? Like, they're interested because they're clicking through to your ad, but they're not converting because the product or market or offering is a right fit for them. Maybe you need to switch it up. Like with anything in marketing, you might have 20 misses before you get a hit, but it's that hit that could actually be 90% of your income, which is huge. So it's definitely worth looking at what is the outcome that these people get from engaging in you specifically. Next question. Now, I apologize in advance if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I believe it's Sarasvati? Saras? Sarasvati. My apologies. Yeah, just any of you that can work it out, just post it. Having issues pronouncing right now. Sarasvati. Anyway, the question is, I'm running a 6-week ad at present, and I'm watching the clicks go down over time, and I'm wondering whether to stop the advert or resume it later. This is an awesome question. The reason that your clicks are going down is because you potentially chosen a too smaller group within Facebook to advertise, so it could be less than 100,000. The other reason that it comes back to is, once again, banner blindness. They're seeing your ad too many times. What I would suggest in this particular scenario is that put up 10 new ads with different images and then go out again. The other thing that you must be doing here, and it's for everyone that's watching this, is that you must pixel everyone that visits your website or your landing page and then set up a retargeting ad or remarketing ad to go, hey, did life get in the way? Come back, check this out. Some of you may have seen one of my cheeky remarketing ads. Like, get creative with it. The biggest issue that we have right now is that tens of thousands of marketers and small business owners jumped on to advertise on Facebook. A year ago, advertising on Facebook, you could spend very little money and make a massive return on investment. Now, if you want to do that, you got to be one of the best. You got to do as much training as you possibly can. You got to read as much as you can. You've got to follow the step-by-step strategies. You've got to have a serious plan behind it to make it work. And it's worth making working, without a question. We do 6 figures in sales every year due to our Facebook advertising strategy. So it's definitely a strategy worth employing. But if you're paying money to get someone to visit a landing page or sales page, and like I was saying earlier, it could take up to 16 exposures of your brand to that individual before they actually make a purchase, it means that you have to pixel that audience, then retarget them with another ad saying, hey, did life get in the way? Grab this offer now, limited tickets left, or we have a special offer for the next 10 people to make a purchase. That drives those interested individuals back to the landing page to close them in that particular scenario. So I would be setting that up as well. And another key point, and if you've watched one of my other videos, which is entitled 7 Reasons Why Your Facebook Ads Aren't Converting, the number one reason that I gave in that video is you're fucked if you do not have a CRM system in place. So a CRM system is a customer relationship management software. So if you're sending people to opt in to something for free so you can acquire that email address and get them on the database, then there has to be something that's following that individual up and sending out automated emails to ensure that it's providing value, it's upselling to that entry-level product or service, and then it's upselling to your other products and services after that. If you do not have a CRM system in place, get serious and do something about it now. It's the reason why my business and my other clients' businesses are so successful in advertising on this platform. Otherwise, you have a broken sales funnel, which means people are clicking through to your landing page or they're opting in for something, but there's no follow-up, so they're not going to buy. People need to be encouraged, and you need to establish your credibility in those follow-up series to get the conversion. Facebook is generally, it's like a handshake. It's the initial interaction. It's everything else that happens after that, which is what's going to close the sales. So, awesome question. I apologize for not being able to pronounce your name right now. I'm sorry. Next question. This is from Lara. Do Facebook ads and likes lead to sales? Awesome question. 2 parts. First of all, do Facebook ads lead to sales? Yes, they do. Oh, you want to know more? Well, first of all, if you're getting people to your landing page, you're remarketing to them using the Facebook Pixel, and you have a CRM system in place, yes, they convert to sales. If you don't have that in place, you have a broken sales funnel. And by the way, you can literally increase your sales by an extra 30 to 50% by having a CRM system in place. Like, it is insane. And for a lot of businesses out there, imagine what an extra 30 to 50% in sales can actually do for your business. Like, for a lot of you, that could actually be the profit, right? So if you're leaving 30 to 50% on the table, first of all, it's just nuts. You have to close all of the gaps in your sales funnel. And look, even for my own business, I sat down last year and spent literally almost 3 months closing every single sales gap in my business that I possibly could, because it was always coming. Facebook was always going to evolve their advertising platform, and unless I made the changes back then, my business could have been wiped out. There are so many businesses that have been wiped out because they're only focusing on the front end of Facebook ads, not the back end. And it's the back end that generates serious revenue. So, to answer your question, do Facebook ads lead to sales? Yes, if that's the scenario that you're playing. Second part of that question is, do likes lead to sales? It depends how targeted they are, to be honest. It also depends on the amount of engagement that you've had with those individuals. Now, if you do have a Facebook page and you're posting up comments and status updates, and you're posting out content that's really trying to engage those individuals, if you're not boosting those posts, like I said earlier, about 6% of those people are actually going to see those posts. So if you look at a page of 1,000 fans, you're lucky to get 60 people actually seen it. Is that right? I think that's right. If it's not right, just post in the comments below. So it's like nothing. It's like nothing. So if you want to get likes converting to sales, then you are going to need to boost your posts to that same group of individuals. So if you're putting up regular posts every single day, then give it a little boost, $5, $10, but to the same audience. If you're doing it to a different audience each time, so fans of a page and their friends, or then just fans of that page, if you're changing audiences each time, they're only going to see your message once, and in their mind, you're like a fly-by-nighter. You've just put up one thing and they may only ever see that one post from you. Like I said, the goal's at least 16 to be realistic. Unless you're a really awesome marketer and you're targeted with who's actually liking your page, then you might only need a couple. Sometimes you only need one when you're really targeted with everything that you're doing. So the answer is yes. The question that I'm going to ask is, well, should you be investing in getting likes on your Facebook fan page? Look, 4,000 or 5,000 likes, yes, to at least get some credibility happening on the social network, because let's face it, we do, when we do assess a business, we do tend to look at how many likes their Facebook page has got, because it's social proof. There are other people liking them. It's the whole restaurant scenario. If there are other people in the restaurant, then you're likely to go in there. And, did you know that a lot of waitresses and waiters are actually taught to get their first guest of the evening sitting at the front in the window to get the social proof happening. So yes, in the scenario, get 4,000 or 5,000 fans. Would I be really investing in it more than that? Personally, no, because otherwise, ultimately, Facebook is double dipping and it's your fault. And what I mean by double dipping is you're paying for someone to be a fan, and then you're paying a second time to promote your posts, so that person that you're already paid for, you have to pay for again so they can see it. So my theory is, well, why don't you just buy Facebook ads and send traffic to a landing page to get the opt-in, acquire the lead once, communicate through them there. Yeah, there's going to be an overlap and you're going to have to pay for them to see your Facebook posts as well, which is fine, but at least you've acquired the email, which is, like I said, $43 return on investment for email marketing for every dollar spent. That's your core objective. Got it? Good. Next question. I think we're up to number 8. I think. I'm kind of ranting on here a little bit with some of these questions. Very passionate about this stuff, as you can tell. So this next question is from Con, who asks, how do you determine the best design for your ads as a solo entrepreneur? What photos should you use? Your own or stock or a combination? Where do you place the text in the ad? Should you stick with your branding colors, or are there colors that are best to attract people's attention? This is an awesome question, and there's many parts to it, which you guys, by the way, I hope you've got a pen and paper here or you're typing up these answers, because I'm giving away a lot of stuff here. You're welcome. But this is seriously an awesome question, so you better be prepared for this. So first of all, let's answer the first part. What photos should you use? My answer is the photos that work. So if it happens to be that you do 10 new adverts using stock images and one of those photos work, awesome. Focus on that advert and then set that advert up for other different audiences and interests to get it converting on different groups. Perfect. If it happens to be your own image that works and it could be taken like on a mobile phone or something, then use that image. It's whatever works. And the only way to find that out is to create your adverts in Power Editor and to create many variations of those adverts using different images. Remember, only test one thing at a time. So same advert copy, you might just have 10 different images to the same group of people. You work out which image is actually working in that particular scenario. Then you duplicate that advert and set that advert up for another Facebook group to try and get that image converting on that platform or with that audience instead. So that's how you test your images. The next question is, where do you place the text in the ad? Well, that's really a design question. When it comes to designing your adverts, I recommend using canva.com, canva.com. Literally, you can design your adverts really quickly. There's obviously certain dimensions that you need to stick to. There is the 20% ad text rule. A little FYI, the tool that people use to check how much text is actually in their advert is it's a load of bullshit, to be honest, because it's simply not accurate. You want to post up your adverts and test the boundaries. I've had a scenario where I've posted up 4 images. They were the 4 same images, same amount of text. The only thing that was different in each was the background color behind the font itself. For whatever reason, out of the 4 ads, 3 got approved, 1 did not. Same text, same amount of text. Like, not everything that Facebook does can be taken as gospel. Don't even get me started on the statistics, because I will later, which is a critical lesson that you must learn. But you just need to test it. Like, you need to test it for your own scenario as well. Testing and measuring is everything when you're playing this game. Next part of that question, should you stick with your branding colors, or are there colors that are best to attract people's attention? We've seen this evolve quite a lot over the last few years with Facebook people or advertising experts putting like the red border around the images themselves to make sure that they stand out. My key thing here is that design really does come first, but also be aware, how does your advert actually look on the platform in the image? So what I tend to do is I tend to download the image from Canva. I then get it up in a preview screen on my computer. I drag it across over someone else's post in the news feed. And then I look at, does this actually stand out to the rest of Facebook? Now, if you look at Facebook's design, it's blue. So if you're using a lot of blue, which we tend to use, but we use a lot of contrast with the color blue. So contrast is black and white. It stands out. It also draws the eye in. So the key objective here for me isn't necessarily the color, it's the contrast, because you might have a color in the same tone as the Facebook color, so it could be in the same tone as that. It could be a yellow, for example, but because it's in the same tone, it kind of looks, too fitting. We want your advert to seriously jump out. So that's my answer to that question. So this is, I believe it's question 9. Mind you, because there's lots of little components to these questions, I think I've probably answered about 15. I'm pretty sure it's about 15. But let's take a look at this one, and it's another one on budget, which is a good one. What's a realistic budget that we should be allocating for Facebook ads? Is it $20 a day, $50 a day, $100 a day? Is that more realistic? Or should we be looking at it from an overall campaign perspective, as in allocating $400 for a campaign to run over 4 weeks? As I mentioned earlier, it's really what you're willing to pay to acquire that initial customer. In terms of what you're spending on a daily basis, it ultimately comes down to how much money are you making. If you're spending $200 a day on Facebook ads and you're making $2,000, then keep spending that amount. If you're spending $200 a day and you're losing $200 a day, then I would suggest that you need to tweak your adverts until you ensure that there's some kind of return on investment, or you're at least breaking even in that particular scenario. But there is one particular thing here that you do need to consider. If an advert, for example, is working really well and you're getting the conversions, a lot of people look at that and go, oh my God, it's getting conversions. I'm only spending $50 a day. What happens if I up the budget on this advert to like $500 or $1,000? Well, pretty guaranteed what's going to happen is Facebook's going to take your money and not give you the conversions in relation to how much you were spending in that initial phase. Guaranteed it. This is like a rookie mistake when it comes to Facebook ads. What we really need to be looking at, instead of finding that winning ad in which we're going to spend, $500 a day or $1,000 a day on, we need to actually get lots of different ad groups and interest groups set up and targeting those different interest groups. And, each of those might be $50 a day. You might have 10 of them, which adds up to $500 a day, but each of those ads is actually performing. So it's, I wouldn't put $500 on one ad unless you actually increase it and it does keep converting, but you have to test that. Pretty sure you're just going to waste $500, pretty guaranteed. Set up your 10 different ads, put about $50 a day. That's if they're working though. I would start out at around $15 a day. Are people actually clicking through to your page? If not, then your message is probably off or the audience isn't right for that message. Then you kind of need to tweak that audience and go out again. And the other thing here is when you're actually setting up your adverts and setting up the budget requirements, I'll speak more about this in one of the upcoming videos, is that I generally let Facebook optimize for the cost per click, because then they tend to show it to the people that you want to click through to your advert based on the relevancy. So when it comes to budget, you do really have to test and measure things, but $15, $20 a day on an advert as an initial run, you need to allow your adverts at least 7 days for Facebook to optimize them, to show them to the right people. A lot of people tend to switch off their adverts like after 1 or 2 days because they spent $50 and then didn't get sales. If you keep on getting click-throughs to your landing page and it's not converting after 7 days, then it's most likely, like I've said several times before, a landing page issue or an audience targeting issue in that particular scenario. Let's now move on to the 10th and final question. I believe it's the 10th question. I hope you guys have been enjoying this. Be sure to post comments in the comment section below. I'm actually really enjoying this. Next question. I'd like to know if ads genuinely convert or if it's true that Facebook use click farms. In the past, I've boosted posts or had ads where I attracted a high percent of males from the Philippines, where my page of almost 700,000 women is about pregnancy, birth, and parenting. The Philippines is not in my top countries by far. I know others have done similar trials and found those clicking were users who liked a bazillion things but had very low activity or interaction. Hard not to think that it's a sham. This question comes from Kelly and it's an awesome question. To be honest, a lot of people have found this over the last few years, especially when the Facebook pages started happening and you get the option to boost your page. You can boost your page, but when you do it, you need to target the country. The other thing here is if you're getting guys, it's because you're boosting your page and you're not selecting female, gender. So this, Kelly, is actually on you, to be honest. Because when it comes to this stuff, and this is stuff that a lot of people go, it's Facebook's fault, it's always their fault. If that's what you're saying, you're playing totally the wrong game. It's like, here's the Facebook platform. We have the ability to get to our target audience. What do we need to do as the individual to play this game well? To get a return on investment, what do we need to do? So if you are getting males from the Philippines, it's because you haven't selected who you want to boost your page to when you're actually setting up that promotion. And to set up that promotion, it's literally on the Facebook page area when you're actually logged in as an admin. And it does give you the options that, do you want to target the US? Do you want to target a particular city? When we do events, when we start bringing out new content, we'll promote those posts to only certain cities that I'm traveling to, because the rest of Australia or the world isn't going to be able to make those events. So you want to get really, really targeted when it comes to that. In terms of, are they using click farms? To be honest, the research out there shows that that's pretty much a yes. There are some kind of videos on YouTube that confirm what you're talking about, sorry. But does it actually mean that you give up on this platform and go, it's a whole sham? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They are there. It's up to us to target the individuals correctly. And you also mentioned that you have 700,000 people following your Facebook page. When you are doing promoted posts to your own Facebook fans, in there you can also select the gender as well, because otherwise you are going to be promoting to these guys in the Philippines. As you say, they're not your target audience. So there you go. There are, I believe, 10 Facebook advertising questions. We have another 20 to go. If you've enjoyed this video, please post a comment below, share the link so other people can check it out as well, so we can help them too. Be sure to grab your seats if you live in Australia, in Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne, to my upcoming event, the new Social Media Economy, a one-day Facebook ads intensive. If you think we've covered a lot in this video, wait until you get to the event, because that's where we design your full strategy. If you can't make the event because you live outside of Australia or not in those cities, we do have a 4-week online Facebook program. See below for the details on how to get your tickets or how to access that program too. My name's Ben Angel. I trust that you've enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you for the next 2 parts in this free Facebook Mastermind series. Catch you then.